Okay, so we are streaming and recording, and we can go ahead and get started.
Okay, we will call the meeting to order. And the first order of business is to announce the next meeting for this commission, which is October 10th in this room at 8:30 in the morning.
As in your business meeting.
Oh, the next hearing is October 24th. Yes, I'm sorry, October 24th here in this room. Okay, with that, could we swear in the staff? Would all those who are here from the city of Columbus please raise your right hands? Do you swear to affirm the testimony you're about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say I do.
I do.
I do. Thank you very much. And would you call the roll for us then, please, Belkis?
Yes, Mr. Whitman,
Here.
Mr. Loverford,
Here.
Ms. Maniaci,
Here.
Mr. Slanet,
Here.
Ms. Bartley, should be here at some point, Mr. Beatty,
Here.
Ms. Riddler.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Okay. And would you kindly review the protocol for the
Yes, so we will go over the public forum if there is any. We'll review the minutes from last meeting and motion on them, and then for all cases on the agenda, staff will present the staff report for that case. The applicants will come and take a seat, and then once the staff report is read, any public comments on that case will be heard. And then after any public comments, the applicants can be sworn in and present their case, and then the commission can review and discuss. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Next item is to approve the minutes from the last meeting. Could I have a motion to do so?
So moved.
And a second, please?
Second.
Okay, the motion is on the floor. Are there any corrections, additions, deletions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Minutes are approved. I would note there are a couple of cases there that had some conditions in them. I'd like to just briefly discuss that, but I think we can do that at the end of the meeting, if that's all right.
Yes.
And with that, let's just go ahead and move on to the first case, please.
So this is for 332 East State Street, which is located at the northwest corner of South Grand Avenue and East State Street, which contains an existing surface parking lot and alleyways. The applicant is seeking commission approval to vacate the alleyways and remove the parking lot for the construction of a 5-story, 520 space parking garage on the western portion of the site and a 2-story, 40,000 square feet medical office building fronting Grant and State. Materials include brick veneer and metal screening for the parking garage and brick veneer and window wall glazing systems for the office building. The streetscape includes benches, a sheltered bike rack, and a mix of shade and street trees, and all graphics are representative and not part of the proposal. The applicant last came before the commission in August, where the commission stated that east facade along Grant looked of a past era and more suburban in nature. They recommended that the facade could be improved with additional glazing and enlivened modern design. The commission also recommended that the south facade of the parking garage be more inspired and the addition of a crosswalk on State Street to connect the hospital and parking garage entrances. In response to commission feedback, the applicant added brick pilasters and joints on the south facade of the parking garage, added street trees along Grant, increased the height of the storefront glazing on the east elevation, and added lintels, horizontal banding, and a mix of materials on the medical office building. And submitted materials include existing context images, demo plans, site plans, landscaping plans, elevations, sections, renderings, and material details. And quickly looking at the materials, these are some updated renderings where you can see the street trees here along Grant. You can see that window glazing extending all the way up. And there's some added details on the parking garage facade. And then in looking at the parking garage facade, see here. It wants to do it, but you can see those details and then the crosswalk added. For analysis, downtown district code permits parking structures and medical office uses. The downtown design guidelines recommend that buildings in a corner lot be designed to address both streets with first floor transparency, that high quality materials be used, and that facade facing public streets use a higher level of design. Further, the guidelines state that parking structures minimize their visual impact by being visually integrated with adjacent contributing buildings using a high level of architectural detail. Lastly, the guidelines recommend landscaping that complements the overall development and the inclusion of art to enliven blank building walls along street elevations. The proposal is generally consistent with the downtown guidelines. For further consistency with parking structure guidelines, staff recommends that the applicant enliven the parking garage facade on State Street, which is the south elevation, through the use of increased screening details and/or art murals. Thank you.
Okay, would the applicants please come up, join us? Good morning.
Morning.
Could you identify yourselves for the record, please?
Sure. My name is Michael Lawson. I'm the president at Grant Medical Center within Ohio Health System.
Okay,
Doug Scholl with Ohio Health Real Estate Construction.
great. Could you raise your right hands? Do you swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say I do.
I do.
Thank you very much. Go ahead. We've seen the case, obviously, last one. If you want to just kind of start with maybe some of the adjustments you may have made, that's probably a good way to go rather than starting from scratch.
Yeah, happy
Does
to.
that work for everybody?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think if you could bring up that east elevation of the garage of the new building, I think that's what a lot.
I hope you have better elevations to look at than these kind of distant ones. Maybe not, huh?
We do.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so in this elevation, you can see the addition of the street trees that we had discussed in the meeting last time. The window nature of those windows, the header, the brick colors have been modified and added, changed to add a little bit more interest. And that two-story piece of glazing on the kind of right side of the elevation has been added from just a one-story to a two-story. So I think those are kind of the direct comments we responded to on that east elevation. And we already discussed during the staff some of the things that changed on the garage. So I think we directly responded to your questions and concerns. Happy to discuss more if you have other questions.
And we do appreciate the feedback because based on your input, it does enhance the building.
Can we look at the garage again?
And what were the changes that you made here, or adjustments on this?
Yes.
garage facade,
So
please?
previously, the brick was only on the horizontal surfaces. So at the vertical columns, we added brick there too to make it look more supported by the brick. And even on the horizontal surfaces, we added a lighter brick band across the top, kind of a header to match the elevation on the east side for the MOB. So kind of took some of those cues around.
And I have the previous drawings pulled up as well, if you want me to flip to that.
That'd be great.
Okay. So let me flip to that.
So the cap along the brick, horizontal brick walls is not it's a brick, a layer of brick, is that correct? Or-
It's a precast stone.
Oh,
They'll
okay.
get like to mimic the
Yeah,
brick. Yeah.
actually, I prefer that to the brick, but.
So
I
this is
couldn't
the
tell.
previous proposal. Current
Yeah.
proposal.
I'm sorry, show us the previous? Okay, yeah,
It's better.
I think so.
Yeah, I think there's more depth with it just looks a lot cleaner. Small changes, but a big improvement. Exactly.
Other comments from the commission, please, Jana?
I think with your perforated screening, there's an opportunity maybe to enhance that. Possibly if it's, and it can be very subtle, but maybe something where there is a graphic painted on it and or some type of color variation or something that, again, it doesn't have to be heavy-handed, it can be subtle. And especially with the perforations, that would also give it a subtlety. But I think it could do a lot to make a focal point there and enliven the street and maybe tie into something with the neighborhood, with the hospital. And then you could also, in other words, maybe use some lighting to wash it. And it might be very interesting at night and also become a safety feature too.
I like that.
Do we have a lighting plan, by the way? Is it submitted or was? Yes.
There are lighting details.
Does it show what, do they happen to have a nighttime elevation kind of thing?
We don't have any nighttime drawings per se. It's more so, showing where light fixtures will be. Let's see.
I kind of like the screen the way it is, kind of plain and actually almost kind of elegant the way it is without. I think sometimes you can start fluffing everything up and it becomes too much. You know, we have this little impulse to add art, we call it, to everything, which is just some kind of a design element. So,
But I think that for us, I think that's an opportunity as we look at the graphics. That Ohio logo there today is just representative. So as we come back with a signage package.
yes,
We'll look at what opportunity.
and that's fine. And again, lighting, I would absolutely agree, is something that can be done nicely and enhance a lot of things. I think we need to, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I just have cut sheets for the lighting, but they're the typical, code required sort of safety lighting that you
Okay.
you see here.
What's the lighting on the top?
It's cut off fixtures.
Fixtures on the post,
Yeah, cut off fixtures on the post. Very typical.
because you have a garage on Town Street that has obnoxious lighting. I just want to make sure this one doesn't.
Yeah, I think that one
It's
is,
an old garage.
the older garages,
Yeah.
the light spill is completely different than modern today. So
Okay, well, let's go ahead and talk about the corner and about the Grand Avenue side, because I think the largest kind of hesitation on our part here was Grand Avenue. So you've done some stuff there. Why don't we address that a little bit too?
yeah, again,
Does anybody have an issue or anything with the corner, meaning that southwest property with the glass and everything?
I like the way the glass goes around the corner. Might
Yeah.
have been the building across the street.
Yeah. So I think we had that's kind of where we were headed at the last meeting. So we've got that section of the building there. Do we want to look at Grand Avenue and then we have a couple of speakers to join us today from the group, from the audience, and we will invite them up in a minute, but let's talk about this for a few seconds. So the kind of light blue, the darker reddish sections are a different color of brick, is that correct? Do we have any details? Do you guys have any samples or anything for us? Can we see what you got if we could, please?
And this is the previous design here. So this is previous and then current.
Yeah, yeah.
The darker area is just staggered brick, so it's just textured. It's not a different color.
Oh, it's not a different one. It's
No.
all the same brick.
It's all the same
Well, how
color.
do you make it, different?
Well, it's the bricks move in and out, so it creates a shadow.
Oh, really?
So in the rendering, it just looks a little different. So it's,
Okay, yeah, that doesn't read that way necessarily on that. And then the lighter brick, is that?
it's the lighter
that
brick.
band over the windows
It's
thing?
the band over the windows and the water table.
Okay. Is that water table out of a bit or is it flush with the rest of the brick surface?
It's out a little bit with a precast cap.
Right. Oh, it is. Okay, see, there's a lot of detail we can't really see there.
Yeah, it's hardened. That way.
Okay, good. I'd say that's better, yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
And then you've got the glass section in there for the two-story section.
It's a big improvement.
Yes.
Okay. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna come back and do this. Are there speakers from the audience then, please? Okay? Would you mind coming up and I think we'll listen to the speakers and then we will have a discussion here with our group. Could you identify yourself for the record, please?
Sure. My name is Rick Colby, and I live at 321 East Capitol Street in the Pierce Building, right across the street from the new development.
Okay, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, thank you for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Rick Colby. I live in the Pierce, Columbus, and Big Red apartment building across the street from the proposed Grant Hospital expansion. I live on the 8th floor and have a wonderful view of both Grant, the library, and the downtown city skyline to the west. I moved in May 2020 during the pandemic and really enjoyed living here. The Discovery District is a wonderful and I believe a very underrated place to live. The photos I posted on social media show this immense appreciation for living here. I walk and bike along the riverfront, can even walk to the shore north easily. I attend church at Broad Street United Methodist and volunteer on Wednesdays at the Romana Cafe where we make and distribute dinners to anyone who wants one. I want to respectfully ask the commission to please take into consideration the effect of lighting on the proposed building and garage on nearby residents. From what I could discern from the plans, and I really do want to get in a plug for Adam and Belkis, you have some very good staff who are very responsive. From what I could discern from the plans, there's a new medical building and a 5-story garage behind it. Parking garage has an open rooftop, and it appears that the different levels of the garage are open to both State and Oak Streets. I was concerned that this parking garage would be like the one owned by Grant on East Town Street. As you can see from photos, which I took, the lighting from this garage is visible in my apartment, even though it's 2 blocks away. If this design was to be replicated right across the street, it would be excessively bright and negatively impact the quality of life on nearby residents. Please know that I'm a big fan of Grant Hospital. My son had surgery there earlier this year and the care was wonderful. A friend's son and his fiance had a baby there in June and also had a great experience. Thank you for your kind consideration of this issue. And thank you for all you do to grow downtown Columbus, create jobs, and make it a terrific place to live.
Thank you for your comments. I tell you, I think lighting is extremely important and frankly, it's something we need to pay more and more attention to. So I think we need to talk about that, which we will do in a couple minutes. Thank you for your comments on that. Any questions for the, okay, is there anybody else that would like to come before us to talk, have a comment? Is Rachel Price here? Does she want to join us? Okay. Let's go ahead and talk about it among the commission. Any questions, comments, thoughts, please?
Like lights, I guess these are pole lights you're talking about that are made for garage use where there is a, in other words, where there's a top to it, so that it is, the lighting is, downward only.
I'm going to
Because
guess I'm going to guess there certainly is, but maybe that's what I guess, let's go 2 directions. And let's just start off with what you folks are proposing. I mean, what's your thought on lighting, if you would, please?
Back up.
I think we totally agree. I think the Town Street garage, however, whenever that light got put in, whether it got upgraded to LED fixtures that are just much more light than was there before, it's that photograph. I don't think any of us can say that's not what we're going for.
Yeah.
We can commit to having, more modern lighting designed with cutoff shields around the perimeter to reduce light leakage off our property and to minimum, we're putting the code minimum lighting already throughout the garage. So our goal would be to minimize that, especially at the perimeters.
Yeah, depending upon what direction we go today, would you be willing to come back? I mean, think through this lighting thing and if there need to be any tweaks on that, would you be willing to come back for lighting?
Yeah, we're happy to come back if with just a lighting plan, we can get
Does
that.
that work for people too? I know we haven't determined our direction yet.
If it's how it's designed, that would be helpful.
Yeah, I don't think
I
that's,
don't think it
Maybe
needs
we
to
can-
slow the project down.
No, I don't want to do that either.
yeah.
Okay.
Another consideration, I can't tell, or I don't see like a section or anything in front of me, but is there head height screening provided?
Yeah, so all of the levels have that brick or the turned up barrier goes up. I think it's 42 inches on every level.
Okay. Other thoughts, comments?
Yeah, have you had discussions with the Leisure Boys Club?
We have.
People
Yeah,
since last time? Could we
yeah,
talk
we had
about
a
that?
call with them and discussed their concerns. We agreed to take mitigation like vibration testing during construction and do all of the kind of normal things during a downtown project to protect the property next to us at the same time. So
What about if they need future, I mean, would you be amenable to discussing kind of future maintenance kind of things? I mean, sometimes without giving somebody, any kind of legal right in anything, you could be a good neighbor and say,
yeah,
if you guys need to do some
I think we
work on an
absolutely
adjoining wall, we can try to work something out.
figure out how to partner with.
I would think that you would, yeah, and I don't think you're giving up anything to do that.
It's important for us to have good community partnerships.
Absolutely. Sure.
What do we do with that, like 2-foot alley between the two buildings.
What do you do with it? I
It
mean,
used
it's,
to
it's
be,
kind
you know,
of,
historically, we just built the buildings on top of each other. Now, you know, with foundations and stuff, we probably don't, but what besides rats will occupy that little space? Are you putting, you know, fences or anything on each end of it, or?
I don't know that we had planned, but we can do that. That's, again, another easy mitigation. We've
It
talked
is a
with,
funny little space. I'm not sure how you maintain it.
yeah, we've talked with our team. It's enough to get somebody in there to maintain the ground surface. It's enough for somebody to get over with a swing stage to maintain
Yeah.
anything you need to. But it is a pretty small space, but like you said, with some of the modern
how
construction.
does that space come about, by the way? I mean,
It's-
is the building to the west of you, is that on the property line?
It is right on the property line, yeah.
And so are you building off purposely then? Is that to get room for your footers or something? I mean, why do you even do a space instead of just building up against the wall?
I think it's
Is
just.
that a question for architects? And is that something that was built into the design? Do you want to come in and if you want to step up, I'm going to ask you to identify yourself if you would, please.
Elizabeth Pearl, Canon Design.
Okay, would you raise your right, do you swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
So say I do, thank you.
Yeah, so we have the 2 foot 7 inches there,
Yeah.
which gets us away from, like with our footings and things like that, away from the additional building.
Okay.
It's also, we had our structural engineer take a look at whether we could increase that amount of space after the last meeting and their original comments. And we can't meet the city guidelines and do that. We're already kind of at the minimum for turning radiuses and spaces. So it's as tight as it could be. And as we mentioned, it's the amount of space that we need to be able to maintain the area in between and the facade. So.
I think I'm not concerned about making it bigger. I'm concerned about why can't it be eliminated?
I think it's disruption to the other building and then also our ability to maintain the structure.
So for hundreds of years, we built buildings downtown right against each other.
Yeah, structurally, you're gonna want a separate building, right? So we would have to, at minimum, have some kind of a expansion joint. So I think our structural engineers would not advise actually attaching to an older structure, which is completely different.
Well, I wouldn't attach it to it.
Right,
But
right.
I don't quite understand why it can't be built adjacent to it.
We wanted the area to be able to maintain.
Understand.
Well, and I mean, I think it's both protecting their building and the ability to maintain ours is, I think, the answer that we have for that, because again, it is a historic building. We're not building a historic building, so we build right up against it. We're worried about their foundations and their pieces of their
Well, there was
building.
a building right up against it. You can still see the shadow of it.
Yeah,
It's gonna be pretty close anyway.
Well, I know it is. I'm just curious about why we're creating this funny little space that can't be used by anybody for anything. When for hundreds of years, we built buildings adjacent to each other at the downtown. I'm just asking.
Okay.
Commissioner, do you have any comment as to the other building owners' desire to put in additional windows on the facade? Which, I mean, just seems, but
I'm not the architect, but I don't think they could do it. They're just simply not allowed to do it. Their building has to be back, whatever it is, 6 feet or something from that. And we've gone through that a lot down there. That won't go through the building department.
This is stuff that's due to fire code. They can't, if you're less than 3 feet, then.
Yeah.
You can't because of.
Okay, other questions, comments? Anything from the audience? What's the pleasure of the group here? Any other thoughts, questions?
I had one.
Okay, go ahead, please.
I really appreciate the revisions that you've made to the east side of the medical office building. And I just had one comment that I don't know if it would be helpful or not, or maybe just something to consider. Depending on the ceiling height inside your first level, the ground level, I don't know if those windows on the ground level, if you wanted to elongate them a little bit more so that they somehow anchor the first floor and are a little bit more in alignment with the storefront. And I don't know how that would look, if that would be helpful, if that would not be, but it's just a thought because many times on first floors, they are a little bit, the fenestration is a little bit different than the floors above. And there's a little bit more transparency and openness. And I don't know if that would also make a more dramatic statement on the inside of your spaces on the first level.
Yeah, I think if you look to the left side, the entrance piece that wraps around, it's the lobby space. The lower section is glass,
Is that spandrel?
and then above it's metal panels.
Okay,
So as that metal panel line is the header line for the windows throughout
Got
the
it.
rest. So it's already at kind of the shelf, light shelf on the inside,
okay,
close to the ceiling.
There does seem to be a line too on the first floor where the tops of the windows match with. the
right, where
top of the
before the
glass
spandrel starts.
Central place of that
I just
also.
wasn't sure if that
Yeah.
was height.
Yeah, so that, again, we've kind of.
Okay, any other questions then for the applicant?
I
Anything?
just have a comment.
Yes, please.
I just really appreciate you listening to us in the last meeting and taking into consideration the recommendations and incorporating them into particularly the grain side. Just looking at, it's very complementary to the built environment that is happening in that area. And I think it's complimentary. So I just want to thank you.
Well, thank you for the feedback. As I said, it made it better. Yes.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, it's with approval.
okay, thank you. Is there a second for that?
Second.
Okay, the motion is on the floor. One more round. Any questions, comments, thoughts, anything from the audience? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries up. Now, I don't know we probably should have built it into the motion, but you will come back to us with lighting, is that correct? Is
Yeah.
that all right?
Yeah, I think we
Check the
would,
signage.
we can commit to bring
Yeah,
back the
signage.
lighting at the same time as we bring back the signage.
Yes, that's fine. Whenever you're ready to do it.
Yep.
Okay, we'll just say that's a commitment on their part then. Thank you so much.
Very much, thank you, take your time, we'll be back some more times for the bigger building as well.
Yeah, right. I mean, we'll look forward to it.
But thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for working through this. Okay, next case then, please.
All right. All right, so our next case is 281 East Spring Street, which encompasses 5 parcels of land which contain surface parking lots. The applicant is seeking commission approval to construct a 5-story mixed-use building at the corner of East Spring Street and Nielsen Street. The building will contain 131 multifamily units, 97 structured parking spaces, 1,820 square feet of ground floor retail, and a 3rd-story amenity courtyard. Key materials include brick, cast stone coping, hardy board, and corrugated metal siding, vinyl-coated chain link fencing, metal balconies, storefront glazing, and upward decorative lighting. Streetscape features include street trees along Nielsen, pavers, granite curb, and bike racks along East Spring. The applicant last was reviewed conceptually at the April meeting where the commission was supportive of the project. They did recommend that the garage entrance be moved from Nielsen to Lafayette to demarcate the entrances more clearly and to explore creating variation in the arches. In response to commission feedback, the applicant created variation in the arches on the north facade and turned the corner with the commercial space onto Nielsen and garage access on Lafayette. Garage access on Nielsen was moved away from the primary corner and further south. And quickly looking at those materials, we can see that this retail corner has been extended southward, which pushed the garage access south. We do have garage access on Lafayette. And then in looking at the elevations, I want to show you the arch. We can now see there's more variation. Before we had 2 big arches and they created some additional smaller arches to change that up a bit. So with staff analysis, the guidelines state that the surface parking has had a detrimental impact on the character of downtown. However, those same surface lots provide an opportunity to accommodate new investment and development. The downtown design guidelines recommend that downtown's built environment continue to be energized with new buildings and improvements in the public realm that together promote good design, long-lasting building construction materials, and attention to detail, especially at the street level. Unique design expression is encouraged and art is recommended to enliven blank building walls along street elevations. The proposal generally meets the applicable downtown design guidelines. Staff notes that although uplighting is included, it does not extend past the parapet. Staff continues to encourage the integration of an element of public art. Thank you.
Very good. Would the applicants please come up?
Yes.
Thanks.
Can we on this table with?
Yep. Sure.
Got it here. Get it.
Yes, well, yeah, yes, I'm sorry.
Great. Could you all identify yourselves for the record, please?
Yeah, John Rewald, Rewald Development.
Mike Soriano, MBVJ.
Chris Watkins, Realm Collaborative.
Would you guys raise your right hand, please? You swear to affirm the testimony you're about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So say, I do.
I do.
Thank you. Okay, very good.
Awesome. Well,
Now, we've already seen this, so let's just kind of pick up from where we are. And move forward.
yeah, that's fair. And we can jump through the presentation quickly. I would just reiterate that, the feedback we got in April was valuable, and I hope you see that's reflected in the plan in front of you here today. And, as a team, our focus has really been on integrating this in the neighborhood in that first 20-foot experience. And, Commissioner Loversidge, you challenged us at the last meeting on Nielsen, and I think what we have today with city approval on the bump out, which allows us in the future to put patio dining for the F&B concept is a major enhancement. So, appreciate the time today, and, Mike, we can kind of jump into where we're at, so.
Yeah, and Belkis has already touched on a few things, but you'll note that, largely without trying to repeat where we were last time, we do have at ground floor. I think, our team was pretty focused on making sure this building, drew out some contextual character, both with, planning and with building expression. So we've got some retail F&B space on the northwest corner here. And then with the parking deck situated to the south along the alley side and with Nielsen access. So you can see that we do have kind of a speed ramp off of the southeast corner, and then garage access on the southwest corner off of Nielsen, which was a necessity just because of the tightness of the site. And you can kind
So
of
the west entrance to the garage, just part of the first floor, right?
Correct, yeah, split level.
And do you have 2 levels of parking? Or 3?
Yes, 2. Yeah, the speed ramp off Lafayette takes you up to the second level.
Okay.
And then just sectionally, you can kind of see this is through the a single portion of the residential, but largely that courtyard this section's taken a little bit farther north, but you can see the kind of residential space stacked with amenity and lobby on the ground floor, kind of masking the parking deck, as well as the five levels of residential with some amenities situated at that courtyard level. And I know Chris has got some stuff on the courtyard, which we'll show as well. Just general, market rate mix in terms of units. One thing that we really wanted to be mindful of as we went through that. I don't know, Douglas, could you go? Well, we'll stay here. We wanted to look at some civic scale moves with these larger arches and just the nature of the way that brick is used. So you can see we've kind of looked at any entrances have that larger articulation with some smaller bays at ground floor. So we think it really starts to set off entries and access into whether it's that retail space or for residents off of the kind of mid-block on Spring Street. And then that brick articulation carries up, and we've kind of got this, the units are set back up above in that hardy volume. And then as we kind of get towards the top of that podium, we invert that arch so that we do have some more kind of graceful and organic movement between the podium and the upper portion of the massing.
On the second floor here along the front, where you have at the, the second floor, is that commercial space also, or are those residential units?
No, so the commercial is just at the corner where we've got
On
full
the right
volume
floor.
height. Yeah, and it's a double volume height at the corner. And then the balance is residential amenity and lobby on levels 1 and 2. And we've got a mixing chamber concept where we're playing around with full volume height and split level within that space.
And it's kind of, it is reflected in here. You can kind of see this is double height here.
On the corner there.
Yeah.
On levels 5 and 6, where you transition from the masonry back to the metal panel structure, it looks like you have balconies there where the setback is. And are some of them wraparound? It was a little hard to tell on the floor plan if, let's say, when you're over there at the corner, is that a large balcony space that wraps around the unit, or is it a smaller space?
So the walkouts at level 5, at the northwest corner, and level 4 at the northeast, those aren't the full extent of it. It's probably a 60 square foot balcony up there. Now the project itself, balconies range from 52 to 300 square feet. On the east facade here, we took advantage of the 10-foot setback. All those units have upwards of 300 square foot walkout patio. So there's a diverse mix of outdoor space. That was a big push on our end to incorporate that into the project.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have brick samples by any chance?
We don't have brick samples. There is a photo in the presentation that is reflective of the brick. It's kind of a very it's not quite red. It's not pink. It's more of like a salmon tone, but it has a lot of irrigation in it. So it's it has some tonal shifts, and it's more of a kind of heathered look.
And what is that, the color mortar you would use?
Yeah, we're using a standard mortar color.
I hope you get a better pointing shot of that picture.
Me too.
Are you going to ask for a commitment on the pointing job?
We've got a lot of masons excited about working on this project.
I'll bet you do.
Yeah, I bet.
For a couple of reasons. Lighting, I like the lighting on there. I like the wash thing. I saw that.
What I think, yes, I think the intent with the lighting is really to be like grazers, so that it's something that's just a very soft. The rendering is pretty indicative of the way we intend.
The only thing, and I was just curious about on the wherever it is, the break in the thing here, the second level there over the top of the second floor, I guess. You've got a ledge along there. So does that mean that somebody who's on the third floor has the light washing in their units then, or?
Depending on how we,
do you see where I mean right there?
You're right there. Yeah, we're looking at where those are mounted and the directional. We have
So it looked like you could.
Yeah, you can. The lighting that we're proposing is adjustable.
The big thing for us, if you go by this site in the evening, this stretch of spring is very dead, and we really want to have a presence here and firmly believe this project will, be the catalyst to transform this corridor. We just had the announcement of AMF, the Columbus Fashion Alliance, going in there, converting that building into their innovation lab. There's a lot of great things happening in this immediate neighborhood, and we're really excited to get this project moving forward.
Do you feel that the lighting you have at night will, without being over the top, would it accentuate the arches enough so that, they will be visible, that people can see those amazing forms?
Yes, firmly believe so, yes.
Okay, good. Any other questions, thoughts?
Where did you get the sky hook to hold up in the corner?
It's been a process working through the detailing on that, but we're comfortable with where we landed, that we'll be able to actually execute on that.
Is that, I meant to ask you the amenity deck, that's.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'm gonna, Chris Watkins again from Realm Collaborative, we're the landscape architects on the project. If you don't mind going to 48, we were a lot less developed than we were here last time. I just want to make sure that everyone has a chance to review what we're showing. So right now on Spring Street, the sidewalk's about 6.5 feet wide. We are widening that to 8 feet to get a, greater right of way where we can. Unfortunately, not able to get street trees due to the width. The bike racks are actually being removed after a discussion back and forth with the city, so that will actually kind of allow for more walkable space within that zone. Neilston is our extreme strength. It's our neighborhood connector. We've got lush planting and structural soil underneath all of the sidewalks here as well, so we'll get really advanced growth on those trees right away. The ground cover is matching industry, which is just a block south of us, so keeping that streetscape consistent. And then, as John mentioned earlier, the bulb out allows us to have a more gracious both crossing pedestrian experience across Neilston and steps back for the retail future tenant build out patio space.
It's a big improvement.
We can jump up to the podium briefly as well. It may be best just to go to the renderings at the end. This is, we can go into the sections later, but I feel you guys have a solid understanding of everything there. If you don't mind going to like page, let's say 58. So up on the podium, all of our lighting is down from the trellis into the space. We have pavers, concrete pavers within the center, and then a warmer wood material around the exterior. I think what we really want to pay attention to is what we're seeing in the bottom right hand of the image, which is the edge of the podium. So we'll have planting right up to the edge and a couple seasonal trees that'll have some nice flowers in the beginning of spring. But that's going to be kind of our presence along Neilston. And if you go, I think one more image. This is if you're standing on the roof of the parking deck, looking north into the space. So this is pretty endemic of what the landscape will look
I thought
like.
this opened on to Lafayette, it opens on to Neilston.
I'm sorry, Lafayette, not Neilston.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you have the brick running along the back of the building too, or the south side of the building?
We do. If we go look at, this is a slightly dated image from the landscape architect's model with what's happening to the building itself. You'll see there's some more opening. We still have masonry cladding on Lafayette. If we were to go early in the presentation and look at the south elevation.
We should probably go back and look at it. There we go. Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
And Lafayette is 14 feet
Really
total
tight.
right away, real tight, adjacent to an exposed precast garage with the same,
Right.
vinyl chain link.
Is the idea with those hedges that they look kind of tall? I mean, are there balconies outside some of the units that are on that floor then?
So there are walkouts on level 3 that have little
All of the
pocket.
units?
I believe, is it all the
Because it
units?
looks
Yeah.
like the
Steps that.
flaming goes in and out, yeah.
Correct. And the idea is, it's a cafe table, it's an intimate space where you can be out there, get the energy of others that are out there, but not have to necessarily.
You have the privacy of
Yep.
whatever it is, 4 feet taller.
Correct.
Okay. Questions or comments about, is there anything else we haven't looked at? We've looked at lighting, we've looked at materials, I think, we've looked at, on the colors, your hardy plank, what color are you intending to paint that? I know obviously dark.
It's a black, so we're,
It's black.
yeah,
Okay.
so what you see is kind of reflected. We're looking at a corrugated panel and some of the spandrel conditions on the arches. You can see those in the model. And then as we get to the upper, it's a painted aluminum prefabricated railing. And then that black hardy.
How about the window glass? Clear glass.
Mullions are black and it's they're just standard.
But it's clear glass.
Clear glass, yes.
Okay, no tints, right?
No.
Okay, have we addressed any, is there something we left out? What's the top of the brick walls? Is that a precast kind of thing?
Yes, it's I think a cast stone coping currently.
And that carries over the swoops, for lack of a better term, as well.
Yeah. Oh,
So that was a fun waterproofing detail.
I just had a comment about the amenity deck.
Yeah.
And I think it's beautiful and I love all of your choices. I'm just thinking that as you look at the maybe the colors and the textures, to think about what that experience will be like in the winter months. especially because so many people are gonna look out onto that courtyard. So it looks beautiful with the greenery and with the, site furnishings, but when that might be stored and there's nothing there, maybe think about what you can do maybe with some change, not radical change, but maybe some change in color, but maybe a little more warmth and texture that could give it character and enliven it a bit for those, when it is more stark.
Yeah,
Which,
the,
also, it brings up a discrepancy. You have a picture of Cassandra and then you're labeling it Larivi on the laser
oh,
photo.
that must be, sorry, good catch. Carry over from something previous, but the ground cover is Pachysandra, and the hedges are, so they're both evergreen, the hedges are taxus. So we'll have color there, all year round, and you'll see one of the big kind of elements we're very interested in extending those shoulder seasons, right? Let's get as much use of the space as we can. So one of our kind of big assets to the residents here is this fireplace that is on center with the amenity room as well. So if there were to be, people that wanted to kind of get into the later fall months, early winter, or heck, if they're brave, in the dead of winter, there is space out there for them to occupy.
That's good.
What is the hedging material there?
It's Taxus, Japanese yew. Privacy is what we're just really want to focus on for those units that we look on, so they can both use the space at the same time.
Sure. Other questions, comments?
It's a great project.
What's the pleasure of the group, please? Anything from the audience, by the way? Any comments? Okay. What's the pleasure of the group, please? Move to approve. There's a motion to approve. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Okay, there's a second. There are 2 seconds. So it's well seconded. Other questions, comments, thoughts?
Tremendous project. Awesome.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see it open.
All those in favor say aye.
I,
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thanks.
Thank you all for your time. Appreciate it.
Okay, very good.
Thank you for bringing the model.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Surprised you got it here, Mike.
Now, yeah, help. Get a little help along the way there. Okay, great. Let's move on to the next case, please.
366 East Broad Street is home to what will be the Vera on Broad. The applicant is seeking commission approval for a gray hand-painted blue wall sign. The other graphics shown on the submitted drawings have already been approved by the commission in 2021. The sign will be aligned at the top of the building, spread over the south elevation at 51 feet above grade, measuring 36 feet 11 inches tall by 29 feet 2 inches wide. Submitted materials include site plan elevations and material details. And with this, I really just wanted to point out that the sign will be on the front elevation, and it's, if you zoom in, you'll see this sort of gray shadow of a V, and that is what they're proposing, which will be hand painted.
By front of the building, you mean the south side?
Correct. Yeah, this is the south elevation. And
And
so,
the sign at the top has already been approved.
correct, yes, all other graphics shown on these drawings have been approved. So the downtown design guidelines state that buildings not be dominated by graphics and that signage not obscure significant architectural elements and be reversible. The guidelines also state that wall signs are preferred and that the size should be proportional to the building to which it is attached. The proposal is consistent with the graphics recommendations of the downtown design guidelines. Thank you.
Very good. All right. Can the applicants come forward, please? You identify yourself for the record.
Michael Lynn, Kessler Sign Company.
Would you raise your right hand? You swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So say, I do.
I do.
Thank you very much. Okay. Show us what this is here. What is it and how's it applied? I guess is what.
It's hand painted. It's gonna be a grayish. It's not like it shows in the picture there. It's not like a profound, bright gray. It's just blends in with the building.
And it's the same V basically. You have.
Yes, as you see there in the top
Yeah.
left corner.
Do you have any color samples or anything? So.
I do not know.
Okay, so, okay. What is the actual color of the building?
Black.
Just black.
Yes.
Okay, and this is a charcoal gray kind of thing? Dark
Yes.
gray?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
What is the building, what is the material of that facade? Is there metal panel?
It's like a metal siding.
Okay, and then is the painting going to be flat or semi-gloss or in the same finish as the?
Yes, it's a semi-gloss. Yes,
And that's the same as the
siding.
siding?
Yes.
Okay, other questions, comments?
We approved a big graphic on.
Very colorful thing. with
Yeah, and
shape.
I don't think that was terribly successful, but this is.
Well, there it is, right there. Was that in place? Is that there?
No, I'm talking about another,
No.
another project that we approved that I don't think was too
Oh,
successful.
I see.
But
Oh,
this
you're
is-
not talking about this one.
No, this is subtle and it seems like.
Yeah, we don't want to take away from the sign that we put up, so we just want just kind of an accent.
It's kind of fun.
I did color, I didn't
Color
like
of that sign is green.
The letters,
Zero.
they're white. They're white channel
and
letters.
they're eliminated, right?
Yes.
Okay, is that wall washed then, or, I mean, does it have any presence at night, or?
As far as lighting,
The V, yeah,
no.
okay.
That's okay.
Thoughts, comments, questions? Anything from the audience? Neighbors are all happy with it? Okay,
I move approval.
thank you. There's a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second. Good. Okay, guys, questions, comments, thoughts?
Do you think that a color sample should just be submitted later for record of the paint color, perhaps?
It's possible. Yes.
Grant's happy to receive a color sample with their permit set drawings, and I can just verify that they match
Okay,
the drawings.
okay. And so the base background is black, obviously. The black is black, I assume. And then you'll show us the gray. Thanks. Okay, very good. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries.
Good.
Great, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Next case. I kind of like some of it. I think it's very subtle and
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah,
All right, so
And it's back,
one.
it's back from the street too, so it's,
yeah.
that's the building that's kind of in the back of the building.
All right, so this is for 61 East Mound Street, which is home to Franklin Learning Academy and is the former location of the St. John's Evangelical Protestant Church built in 1924. The applicant is seeking approval to install digitally printed vinyl overlay graphics on the faces of two existing stone monument signs on the north elevation. They measure 2 feet 4 inches by 8 feet and 25.5 inches and 6 feet respectively. The applicant was last before the commission in May, where 5 signs were approved. The two proposed signs would bring the total to 7 signs on the property, which is why I'm bringing this to you all today instead of doing a staff approval. So if you look here, we have the locations of the 2 signs. And then I asked, this is one of the signs here and the second one. And then I did ask the applicant to sort of try to include some of the other signs that have been approved
Thank you.
on the rendering. They're a little small, but if you zoom in, we have some banner signs that are existing, a wall sign that's existing. And then the other image, trying to see if they're able to get that in. Oh, over here, this is the second sign, and so you can kind of see the relation. The downtown design guidelines state that signage should not obscure significant architectural elements, and that the installation of the sign should be reversible and avoid permanent alteration or damage to historic building materials. Further, the guidelines recommend that buildings not be dominated by graphics, that historic or icon signs be preserved, and that the installation of the sign should be reversible and avoid permanent alteration or damage to historic building materials. Ground signs are supported in portions of the downtown with larger building setbacks and should be made of durable, high-quality building materials that complement the primary structure. The proposal is generally inconsistent with the downtown design guidelines, and for this reason, a staff approval was denied and the proposal is before the commission. Thank you.
Okay, are the applicants here, please? Could you identify yourself for the record, please?
Yeah, Colin Brinkman.
Colin Brickman, and
Yeah,
who are you with, and what's your connection? to
Day Night Sign Company. I'm working with.
the sign?
Yeah,
You raise your right hand.
yes,
You swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and so say I do.
I did.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I was just here in May for this location. They have two existing ground signs there that they want to reface. The larger one is on the northwest side of the property. That's the one there. And then the other one's just kind of right in the middle on the north side of the property, right near the church doors.
Where's, show us where that one is. Oh, that's it right there.
Right there. Yep.
Well, where's the other one? To the left of that?
It's to the west. You can kind of see it there, and then there's that big wall sign up top. So those are.
Is that wall sign up there in place?
Yes.
How did that get there? Did we approve that?
Yes.
Yeah.
May.
Yeah, so that was.
I just one of those meetings.
Pull up Google Street View if you want, and I can.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So is the applicant, are they motivated to reface these two St. John's signs because they're concerned that there's confusion with what is existing, or do they feel they need additional signage?
I mean, for me, I think it's probably both. You know, they want as much visibility as they can, and with those signs being existing, they want to take advantage of those, if possible. And yeah, I mean, I think the issue is they've had issues with maybe people not knowing like the correct entrances and everything like that. You know, for me, I think it's mostly that they want to just obtain as much signage as they can.
So are they gonna put it over the stone sign?
Yes.
So they're not gonna deface the existing stone sign?
No, it would just be an ACM panel of vinyl that would go over top of those existing signs. So they would be, you know, ACM.
And so where do we go from here? I mean, you come back here and I know this is a moneymaker for you.
How many signs could you sell these people?
Right, yeah, honestly, yeah, it's pretty crazy. But yeah, I think they the initial wall signs, they wanted visibility mainly from Third and Mound. I think that was a big priority for them, and get something high up just because it is a downtown area with lots of tall buildings. But yeah, they just thought that, you know, from my understanding, this is the last set they want, and they just know with those two being existing, they were interested in seeing if they could obtain those refacings.
What's
And
that
they have
right there? Is that a sign that they have there too? Right, Chip, no, where the cross is, just to the right of the, well, that one right there?
Yeah, we did that in May, so we did a refacing on
That's
that
one
one
of
as
those.
well. Yes.
Is the church used as a church at all now, or is it completely used as the daycare center?
I believe it's all the daycare center. Now, I think previously they may have like a service there once, like it's very rarely used, I believe, from my understanding. And if you guys need me to confirm that, I'm sure I could. But my understanding was, yeah, it's pretty much all a daycare center now, or the Franklin Learning Academy, and that church may be occupied, maybe one service a week, or maybe just even like once a month, if at all.
Does anyone know if the building is on the historic register? If it's,
It is not on the register, but it is considered contributing to its age and construction.
Well, these are reversible. So.
And they're not gonna be eliminated, right?
No, it's just ACM with vinyl. No, there's not even spotlights or anything in the ground that I'm aware of that.
They're not very big.
Yeah.
I don't
This is-
hear.
Oh, sorry, this is Deb. I just wanted to state too that with going from 5 to 7 total signs, I would encourage the commission to think about precedent. So if we allow these folks 7 signs and then some other folks come later on and want 7 signs, we need to be aware of any precedent that will be set.
We don't believe this.
I do think.
Case by case.
Yeah, we may not, but somebody else might.
I think there's 4 signs. I think 2 banners.
There's 2 wall signs and then
Right.
2 banner signs and then the scrolling
Oh, I
Sign.
apologize. I forgot that guy. Yeah, you're right.
3,
Yeah.
4, 5, right?
Do we
Yeah.
need the banners still then? I mean, or is there something that can come down and
That's what I'm
if we
thinking.
put this back up?
Yeah.
Well, those have been approved already, so we can't take it back, kind of.
Well, we don't have to approve these either, so.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think they would, I mean, I could ask my client, you know, would you guys be interested in removing the banner signs, you know, for these 2 new ones and replace?
I think we got a little, I mean, when I just hear this, I just brings up clutter to me, and I think we don't want to get into that. What are the yellow and blue signs? There's a
And I think,
large horizontal one over the door, and then there seems to be one on the.
yeah,
Those are old.
so that's why we.
What's
went
that?
So that's why my client went that route, was all the banner bracket material was existing. And then they had 2 signs up there, you know, I don't know if those are,
What is that yellow, the blue with the yellow?
that was from the church.
The old one.
Obviously.
That's for the church.
That's what-
Right, so that's why my client,
Well, I wonder why that would, what, is that still there then?
no,
No, it's been replaced by.
By the new sign.
Yes. No, I'm right there. See that picture? See the picture?
Yeah.
Is that one over the door, the large, yeah, right there. Is that still there?
That's been replaced by a smaller one that they did.
That one is, you see where she has the hand?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
that over the door.
that's what I'm trying to understand.
Yeah.
I see.
so that's,
Oh,
why, yeah, that's why my client went that route was,
You know, my thought on some of the banner things is those, you know,
Yeah.
no, I think they kind of work if they're temporary. you
right.
know? I mean, they just,
Well, what do the banner signs say? But do we have a picture?
I think there was a photo, I think it says like now enrolling K through 3. I think in one of those photos.
So it's not another one of these, and it's not another identifier.
No, and we used the church had existing banner brackets that we use, so we just swapped those existing banners out, and put new ones in.
You know, I feel like there are too many now. And then looking at, you know, when we looked at it originally, I think the original signs that were supposed to be the big wall signs were a different color. And we were talking about trying to make it neutral, trying to make it blend into the building, trying to, you know, integrate it because we felt it was sort of in conflict. And,
Right.
you know, and competing with the building. But seeing it, I don't think it's that successful. And I'm wondering if that one right over there over the door is really needed, but maybe the new ground signs would serve the purpose and they could be in place of what was hung there.
Right, and we went with that color because that was out of their brand booklet, their branding guidelines. That was the one that honestly was the closest we could get.
The color's okay.
Yeah, for that. So that's why we went that route. I think the other ones were like blue,
Right.
like yellow, like stuff that would really stick out. So.
well, let's get down to, I guess my reservation is 7 signs, right? Or somehow or another. I just think we're somewhere out there. It's just, it's not where we want to be.
Okay.
I don't know what anybody else thinks. I'm just going to start the conversation by throwing out an opinion. Jennifer?
Question, does the wall banner sign, is it possible to repurpose that for the ground sign? Looks like they might be different sizes or.
Yeah, they'd be different sizes, yeah. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, we can put it in my client's hands and see, you know, do you guys really want those banners still? Or, you know, maybe.
It'd been helpful if the client came with you, so we can answer this question.
Yes.
Yeah, they're busy this.
What do we want to do? Is that, we can vote for it or we can say, hey, we're not comfortable with it and go that direction.
I mean, we could table it and say that we're not comfortable with the 7 signs and they can think about what is
What they
most
wanna do.
important to them.
Okay.
And maybe work with that.
Okay.
I mean, that might be an option.
I mean, I definitely would like to hear, if we're gonna table, I definitely would like to hear from your owner, because there's only 2 sides of this building. And I understand that when you're going down Third Street, you're talking about, you have Third, and there's a parking lot, so there's some distance to the building. But when you're on Mound Street, the street is right on the building. And so, you know, the need for signage and visibility is different. I don't know the charter school business and how, you know, people find out about schools and things like that. So I don't want to guess that how important signage is or not.
Mhm.
But it just, at this point, it seems overdone. And after we voted on it, and I drove by it and walked by it afterwards, just because that's the way I travel, I was like, wow.
I got you.
Okay.
I think the suggestion, getting rid of that big one
Yeah.
at the front,
I think
I think the lower size are.
Trudy, how about you then? Do you have a,
You know, I just don't like the signs anyway. I
I didn't.
I mean, but as long as it can be as inconspicuous as possible, because, just because of what street it's on and what building it's
I think what I'm hearing is, if I'm gonna translate here for a second, I think you're hearing that we're not comfortable with approving 2 more signs.
Okay.
So what I would propose to do, if you want to do it, we can either vote, turn it down, or we could table it if you want to, go back and talk to the folks. And if you want to come back, you can come back. I think somebody needs to get a kind of the whole overall program. It's not, we do 5 and, oh gee, we want 2 more, and so now we add 2.
I got you.
Okay, but why don't you go back and talk to them, and then, would you want us to table it then?
Yeah, I'll table
Okay,
it.
is there a motion to table?
Motion table.
Okay, there's a second. Any other thoughts, comments, anything from the audience?
Please bring that with you next time so we can resolve it and we can move on.
Yeah, I got you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, okay, this is tabled, so that means it'll be on the agenda for next month.
Sweet. All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
I think that takes care of it, right? Okay, let's jump back real quick, on the,
I have one more case though.
do we? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yes, I forgot all about it. You know, it's getting late here. Could you guys talk fast? You wanna, there we go. Why don't you introduce us and then we'll.
All right, so this is 205 South High Street, which is home to the River South Development. The applicant is seeking commission approval for a new pool and private courtyard on the south elevation along Bridge Street. The previous concrete pool shell was found to be defective after installation, and materials include a stainless steel pool, shell porcelain pavers, stainless steel with glass infill panel railings and string lights. The stair access from Ridge Street will be removed and a new brick-based wall with the LC logo will be installed. The proposed channel letter wall sign will be 8 feet by 8 inches wide by 3.5 feet wide and halo lit. And the downtown design guidelines recommend landscaping that complements the overall development, utilizing high-quality materials with lighting that minimizes light spill. Furthermore, the guidelines state that wall signs are preferred, and that they be proportional to the overall building, and the proposal is consistent with the downtown design guidelines. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Would you identify yourselves for the record?
Franco Mando with EMH&T.
Matt Toddy with Astro Studios.
Trevor Arnold with Lifestyle Communities.
Great. Could you raise your right hands? Do you swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say I do.
I do.
Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Okay. Can you bring up the rendering images?
We have not looked, now this one we haven't looked at since we first approved it, right? Okay.
And so we're looking at primarily a pool deck, also with table and chair seating for the goat restaurant that's there. And so we're looking at completely removing the deck and replacing it with this new feature that you see here. Can you go to the next image? So what we wanted to do is make sure that we had these amenities. The pool is the primary amenity. Like I said, you can see to the back of the image, the tables and chairs. There's to the left of that image is patio space for residents. The goat restaurant is on the right side of the image. Ridge Street is the street that we'll be walking home. That you can see the street trees that are existing there. We have the 2 building sections that are existing. So the proposed piece here is the wall between those 2 that has a glass railing on the top. Can you go down to the next image, please? Thank you. So you can see the wall, the glass railing. All the materials would be consistent with the existing building. So we have existing cast stone, we have existing brick. We'll be using those and matching those same materials that you see here. We wanted to make sure that we did have that glass railing there so that there's some life at the street. Obviously, it is a pool for the residents. It's not a public pool, but we did want there to be kind of this you can see people at the pool deck, lounging, swimming. We try to get the pool as close to Ridge Street as possible within the constraints that we have. And so we've done that. We've got some lighting that is down lighting around the pool. And we have festoon lights that are over top of the restaurant seating, essentially the outdoor seating areas that to the back of the image.
What did you call those lights? The what?
Festoon lights,
Oh,
the string lights.
Yeah.
And then the signage that you see is the same signage that was there previously, essentially that LC logo, just going back to where it was before. It just has to be removed had to be removed for the reconstruction of the project.
Yeah.
There were stairs there before. Where did they go? Is there an entrance?
Yeah, so I think that's a great question. I think it's worth pointing out that this is largely just preserving much of what's already in place with the exception of the existing stairs, that we are taking that stair out and closing it off.
I think it's better without the stairs, tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a couple of reasons for that, but that's the major change from the street side, is that stair goes away.
I'm curious, the building that's very similar to that on the opposite side of the street, does that also have a low wall, and is it similar to what you're doing here? I'm just wondering what that looks like for
It-
that
it
other
is.
building.
It's got a brick facade along the face of the courtyard, similar to what we're proposing there.
Yeah, you have to go down it. Yeah.
Street car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you can see the stairs on the.
That's the
Yeah.
one, that's the one you're changing?
That's what we're changing.
This is
And that's
the
there.
One on the north side.
This is,
Yeah.
and this is the one you're changing.
No,
No.
that's the one that's there. Yeah.
That's the one across the street.
That's the
But
one.
it is worth pointing out that the
That's-
festoon lights are there on the south side, so that would be sort of replicated again on the north side.
Okay,
So
I see. Thank you. So they're going to be they are going to be quite different.
Tell us what are the pavers then? And,
It's a gray porcelain paver,
okay,
2x2 size.
okay. And is that a lower section then, there to the right?
Yes, so the pool, in order to get the depth above the deck, we had to have a raised deck around the pool area. We also have a raised pool wall. And then there's about 2 feet of difference between the goat restaurant entrance and the patio restaurant, or the patio, the resident patios and the pool deck. And so you see the ramp on the left side, upper left of that image, switch back to make that. And then we have the stairs down the
You
lower.
forget about that a little bit, but there is a large grade change between
there is.
High Street and the street to the west.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Okay, questions or comments or thoughts?
I think it's an improvement.
I do too.
I had a couple of thoughts and questions. So where you have the glass railing, and then where it transitions to, I guess, the existing maybe wooden railing, is that because that little area is a residential balcony?
Yeah, it is an aluminum rail.
Mhm.
It's essentially an aluminum screen fence. We don't want the pool users and the patio users to be able to see each other. It's essentially a screen.
And then also, have you thought about in the winter months with this, it's sort of a simpler question I had on the previous project. So in the winter months, the pool will probably have a covering over it, and the furnishings would probably be set aside. And are you thinking about how that would looking down, if that's going to be pretty spare, or if, I don't know if you have any thoughts about that, what that would look like in the off months?
I think one of the benefits of the cross programming of this patio space is that it actually double functions as the goat restaurant patio space. So in those winter months, there might not be active seating, but the seating, the option to utilize the outdoor seating would be there as well. So there would be minimal activation on that patio potentially.
Other questions, comments?
This is probably a dumb question, but is that little planter on the street irrigated? I can see
Is that
that
going to be
coming.
there, continue to be?
Those plants die, then
we
it's
can-
gonna be a place for cigarette butts. and-
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a planter there. We could honestly fill that in. There's a foundation there that's current that we
I
would
like the
cap
idea
in.
of the plants. They need to be robust.
I think they would, Trevor, I mean, hand watering, I mean, we don't have irrigation in that area. It is a difficult space, understood.
This is stuff, maybe there's an evergreen option.
I think definitely that would be some sort of evergreen, probably on the order of like a juniper, some small kind of spreading or juniper like that.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the signage is nicely incorporated there. I like how the plans highlight it, so I think that's very well placed. Do you have any concerns about the use of material glass and its cleanability up there?
When using glass railing, it is operationally something that you have to go in and clean. They have to wash the windows, they have to wash the glass. It is gonna, yeah. It's known.
Frankly, I think facing south, I mean, why don't you just fill in like a decorative gravel and not do the plants or the sign?
I'm open to that. I'm open to that as well.
I think, obviously, right, it's just gonna fry out, right?
Yeah. I agree. So, I mean, if there's one way or the other that the commission wants to go with that, a decorative gravel, we could cap it entirely. I think that's also a possibility, is just take the cap all the way back. I have to look at structurally kind of how that deals with the wall, but I think the gravel would definitely be a way that,
I see gravel as being a.
I think like next to pebbles.
Gravel, I pick it up and.
I'd rather try something green. If it doesn't work, do something else.
And nothing's gonna work there.
Is there also, I'm wondering, if it might be the same problem, but where you have the two solid walls on either side of the graphic. Is there a way to make a plant, I don't know, to make a recessed planter area and then maybe have vines that could cascade down onto the wall? I don't know if that would be easier to maintain, if that would be, if that might be a way.
from the upper level,
On the upper level and maybe coming down.
we are constrained with the way the ramp works there, to be honest with you.
Oh, right on the other side of the wall is that.
Right on the other side of the wall is the landing of the ramp. It would push everything further
see.
inboard, which the doors of the goat we're very tight. So starting at the doors of the restaurant, we're coming up, and that's kind of where we have to start. It would severely cause a redesign of the.
That's fine. It was just an idea. I mean,
Okay.
everybody was discussing like, okay, where do you get the green space in it?
And I think if that wall, that existing foundation wall that were there, if it were not there existing, we wouldn't go through putting a planter or anything like that. I think
It's a nice accent. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Well, somehow or another, it's kind of all hard surfaces. It'd be nice if it were, I don't know, punctuated by some kind of, even pots, large planters that had some, some small conifer that you might have to change out every 3 years or something. And by the way, yes, you would have to keep it watered. But if you had some kind of green in there, that'd be very interesting. It'd be a nice thing for that whole space there. Because right now it's just all grays and browns and tans and so on, so.
Yeah, I mean, we do have, on the upper level you're speaking of?
No, just something so you see it through the thing. I see where you're talking about the ramp there. I don't, that obviously probably doesn't, although that looks like quite a wide ramp, but, and it doesn't seem to work on, but maybe where you have two planters on the left.
We do have some locations where we have some small planters for some annual plants.
If you could do something in there that had a presence, okay, that could be interesting. By the way, a presence could be 4 or 5 feet tall, that's green.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could plant some kind of, even evergreens in there, and they'd be green in the winter too. And you could do 3 or 4 of those would give an impact, would have an impact on that place.
And I think we could do some evergreen plantings and in the planters that we have. Structurally speaking, we're kind of right on the edge of where we want to be. So adding
Oh,
things like larger trees would not be possible. We're obviously working with an existing deck that was designed for that existing for that previous function, which did not have any large plantings.
Yes, I don't know. I'm not talking about large. I'm just talking about, the French have these little wooden boxes, they're very elegant, and they have a tree that looks
Let's all go look at something.
so, yes. Okay, what's everybody want to do? I think it does look, I like it. I like what you're doing. I do think it looks kind of sparse, which I think is in a way kind of too bad, because I think you could enhance the thing and it would be more exciting, both for the residents, for the restaurant, and for the people on the sidewalk.
You just have to have colorful people around the pool.
Yeah, well, that's true. If you made those bathing suits brighter. Okay, where are we here, guys?
Move approval.
Okay, there's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Questions, comments, anything from the audience? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Done. Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners.
So although the commission would prefer to see some plantings, it's not a condition of approval.
It's not a condition.
Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
We're just trying to help them out.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for the top one.
Thanks for coming in. Okay, are we done with the cases?
We're done with the cases. We just need to approve the staff approved applications and then discuss the Harrison Center Board.
Let's have a motion to do the staff approved applications, get that out of the way. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Carries. Let's see. Harrison Smith. Did everybody have a chance to look at some of the thoughts?
Yes.
Any thoughts on any from anybody? What's your favorite?
I like the municipal light plant, but it did win an award last year from with Landmarks, I think.
Did it? Okay.
Yeah, so I'd be a little, thinking maybe that's not the best candidate because of that.
The Madison project's not finished, is it?
The which one?
The last one, the Madison.
That's correct.
No, I don't think it's done. And
We realized that when we walked over there. So maybe that's something in the future.
Yeah.
But if you want me to pull up any photos, I can click on one and we can look at the photos.
how about the Janet Eshelman sculpture there?
So the current.
Anybody like that one?
It has the most impact or dynamic change to downtown, so.
Okay, what's everybody, Bob? You don't like, which one do you like, Bob? Trudy?
The sculpture is,
I'm gonna call her Jennifer next.
it's really dramatic at night. It's not so, it's kind of wimpy during the day.
Yeah, I know I was a little surprised.
I think it's interesting there.
You also
Okay.
have I'll just read through. We have Jackie O's patio, the Reach on Goodale, which is that White Castle redevelopment, municipal light plant, the current sculpture, the new Scioto Peninsula as a whole, as well as the public art that's been included within that, Discovery Park Place, the Library Park Apartments, Vera on Broad, the Normandy House, and then Madison's isn't finished yet, so.
I'll tell you, that side of Peninsula is now, it's particularly since it's kind of grown in, it's tremendous. And I'll tell you the other thing, I gotta give the city credit. They do a wonderful job of maintaining that thing. It is. My gosh, it's nicely mowed, the trees are pruned.
Has that been done by the city or by the
Recreation
city?
parks.
Is it?
Yeah.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah.
And they just do a great job.
And this is the
What-
development by code is what I'm referring to.
What is?
You mean, well, you don't mean the whole strip along there then? I thought you meant the whole strip.
No, I mean, the peninsula, the new development that's
Oh.
adjacent
Not
to
the
the,
side of it.
not the, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Not the side of mine.
That was mislabeled
I
there.
was thinking the side.
We may have already given that.
I mean, I think
Okay.
it's,
My first rodeo, so.
I mean, did we already?
Jack Yost, that is kind of dramatic, fun. I think maybe in that group, the thing that transforms downtown the most might be the sculpture.
Sculpture.
And, you know, encouraging public art on a big scale by private developer is a good thing.
And this is a nationally, worldwide known artist too. So we kind of stepped up. Sometimes in Columbus, we try to, our vision isn't as.
Along the corridor,
Yeah.
I mean, it's very similar in idea.
Also speaks to public-private partnerships, and then also lots of the ownerships related to those buildings and the attachments all coming together.
Yeah.
I think he owns them all.
Yeah.
And I will say, what we'll do is, we have some open discussion right now about it. And then I'm going to send, like a little, survey. And then you'll click your favorite and I'll get those responses. And then the most popular one will move forward. That's the winner.
Unless we want to do it by consensus, which we've always done too, but I don't have a problem doing it that way.
I'm
Okay,
just going by.
is everybody, do we want to wait?
Or if you guys have a strong feeling now, that's fine too.
You've been very quiet over there.
We talked about, I'm ready to go now.
Oh, you are?
I mean, if others aren't,
Which one
everyone
is
here,
it?
that's.
What do you think? Which one are you leaning for?
Oh, current.
Current, okay. How about you, Jennifer?
I like the current. I think
Okay.
it establishes something new downtown. It's gonna set up a new arts corridor.
We may, I think we have a consensus kind of emerging here.
Lewis is like, they're gonna need time to
No.
think about it.
Not in this instance.
Sometimes we're. Judy, what are you feeling?
I like the rest.
Okay,
Okay, well, there we go.
I think you've got your.
We'll move forward with that then. Thank you.
Everybody's.
By the way, I think another interesting element of this is, you know who owns Current at this point, don't you? The Art Museum.
Yes.
And so I think that's really kind of interesting that we bring a cultural arts
But they own it.
group. They own it. It's a donation to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
They own it. So obviously put together so it's an interesting story and the whole thing. Great, okay.
Moving forward with that.
Okay, we got that done.
Did you have a question about?
I have, yes, on minutes, we had two cases that had conditions and here's what I want to do. I think we need to make sure in this group that, when we approve things, the things that we approve get built. But both when we kind of approve them and then if we have conditions on the same thing. So I've just noticed when I was glancing through there, the J.C. Arms thing, we had some comments and I think that was approved with conditions, was it not?
Yes.
Have we heard anything on that?
No, they haven't come with their permit set yet.
Okay. Okay, good. And then the next one was, remind me,
Let's see,
not.
let me scroll down here. That was the only one. The other two were just straight approvals and then we had the conceptual, on Gay Street.
Okay.
Okay. Record the conditions then.
Oh, yeah, I'll go back up to the
Yeah.
conditions. And I will say as staff, if there are conditions, they need to be very clear.
Yes.
And actionable and things that we can see on updated
So
drawings.
that says approved with condition. What are the decisions?
They're listed here, items 1 through 4.
Oh,
Okay, good. Great. Anything else on the other items?
That is all we have.
Thank you, everybody.
yeah, it's great to see that we have
Thank you.
new projects every month.
We do indeed. It's amazing.
Are we adjourned, Chair?
Anybody else have anything? I think we are adjourned.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Good to see everybody. Enjoy the rest of the summer.
I have a question. Was that last discussion broadcast? Harrison Smith Award, was that?
Yes, it is all public record. To comply with our Open Meetings Act.
We're not supposed to be sitting in here